Please come to order for this November 7th regular meeting of the Planning Board. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on the agenda is first, we've got all our regular members here, so there's no need to appoint an alternate. However, alternates may participate in all the proceedings, including making and seconding motions. They just may not vote. Next on the agenda, approval of the minutes of October 3rd, 2023. Moved by Mr. Harden to accept. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Cook. I have read the minutes, and they looked good to me. All in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a public comment period. I see there's a number of folks here in the room. Some are applicants. I know there's some are there any people here besides this lady that are here to discuss or want to say anything about applications that are before the board? So, okay. Is there anything else anybody would like to make a public comment on to the board? Okay, so I know there's some people here for one of the applications for Isaac Stevens. When we get to that point, we should make a decision about allowing the public to participate or whether we call a hearing, so forth and so on. All right, next on the agenda, old business, 5A, Voodoo Holdings, North High Street, map 13B, lot 10, findings of fact and conclusions of law. Has everybody had a chance to read the memos that I sent on this and the attorney's memo? Okay. My proposal is that we take our attorney's advice. I think she's written this to be upheld on appeal. A denial is cleaner, and in terms of the applicant, it really doesn't change what the applicant has to do going forward. They have a chance to appeal, regardless of, and they can still resubmit with all the proper information to the board. So I'd recommend that we first do what I would call, I think Brenda, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we first need to do, a reconsideration, as minor as it is, to say the decision is that it's incomplete, and because of that, it will be denied. Okay? So I make a motion to reconsider the decision that it is incomplete first. So let me explain how this is going to work. Is we're going to reconsider the decision for incomplete, and then I'm going to propose a motion that the decision is to deny because it's incomplete, which we kind of went back and forth on last time anyway. Okay, so I'd accept a motion to reconsider our incomplete decision. Moved by Mr. Harden. Is there second? Second by Ms. Cook. Any discussion? Ken?
Which decision would be easier on the applicant? In other words, is a new application of more expense?
It doesn't matter, because either way, they have to put in a new application.
So it really...
No. I think it's cleaner should it go to appeal. And per the attorney's advice, you can see that she felt that it was stretching it just to call it incomplete, that we needed to clearly delineate why it's denied at this point.
I thought you did a pretty good job of doing that in the original.
Yeah, but it doesn't clearly state that.
Right.
So she's pretty much used everything I had. The only thing she added that I recollect is a section that says that the abutter testimony was credible, which it was based on the evidence on in the record. Other than that, it was just some reorganization. So, all in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. I'd now propose a motion to deem the application, to deny the application because it is incomplete and accept the findings of fact provided by our attorney.
I'll move that.
Moved by Mr. Harden, seconded by Mr. Mattson. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. We're finished with that one. All right, next on the agenda, findings of fact and conclusions of law for Highland Lake Resort, North High Street, map 47, lot 20-20. Mr. Harden makes a motion to approve the findings of fact and conclusions of law, seconded by Ms. Cook. In terms of discussion, I said that all the buffers were to remain, but I can't, under the condition, but I can't, I believe, but did we decide all the buffers, tree buffers would remain around the perimeter, or just the one on the perimeter that faces lot 302? I just want to be absolutely sure of that. Do you remember, Kathy? All of it?
I thought it was all of it, too.
Okay. Okay, then we leave this as is. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. And then, last but not least, next on the agenda is Chadbourne Hill Solar, Chadbourne Hill Road, map 19, lot 23. This was for an amendment. Before we make any motions on the findings, I trust you all saw my memo about what we overlooked. So what I've done, so we need to vote on what I've added to these findings regarding which would be what we are considering our summary of our deliberation. So that's on page, so it starts on page 4, I believe. So we can do this one of two ways. If you've all looked at the ordinance and you're comfortable with what I've written, or just have questions, we can just move through that. Or if you want me to pull up the ordinance and go line item by line item, and we look at what I wrote, we can do that. Is there any preference?
I think we just do it the first way.
All right. So let's go through that. You can see applicability and local limitation. The standards apply. Let me make a comment here, is from a nonconformance standpoint, things really don't technically apply because there's no structures. However, you'll see that what I've written in there sort of describes a nonconforming situation that, so when we get to it, I'll describe that. There's a total of 3 solar farms approved, so we're good with that not being 8. You see my comment on submission requirements. Okay, in terms of the review criteria, maximum solar land area, pretty straightforward. It's fairly small now. It's something like 8-9 acres, something like that. The height didn't change from the original. The vegetative screening, there is vegetative screening. There is security fencing that was a condition to begin with. In terms of scenic impacts, in the new review criteria, it asks for an analysis of a view shed analysis, and I don't know if you recall, but when they reduced the size the first time, one of the times that they came, they did provide a view analysis. Now, it's not necessary, it is viewable from the public road. Barely. So one of the new requirements was, I think, that it wasn't obvious. So you can see how I've written this, and I need to know you're okay with it. It's obviously nothing the applicant can do because we approved it as is with the screening several years ago.
Yeah.
So are we okay with that? And then setbacks. First of all, there's a typo in that, in item 8. It should be 2,000 feet, not 200 feet. And here's where I'm saying, because it was already known and accepted by the board that an adjoining solar facility was to be built, that we should consider that and accept this. I mean, let's face it, it's an amendment to make it smaller. So if we were to reject it because there's a new part of an ordinance that's got sort of this wacky loophole because it doesn't fall under nonconformance strictly, the applicant could still build it, but just build it at double the size.
Sure, yeah.
So
I say we go with
it
that.
doesn't make any common sense to,
Yeah, I say we make that one correction,
okay?
the typo, 2,000 feet.
So that's that part of it. And then, in the conclusions of law, in the conditions of approval, I've added a condition, I've updated condition D to make sure that it's stated the way it should be stated, because now we have that section in the ordinance, and we didn't used to, the performance guarantee. So they have to follow the ordinance, in other words. And I think that's it.
You're on an old one.
Oop, excuse me, let me turn that off.
Did an angel get its wings?
No,
That's the amendment.
just
Go
my
under the
nephew.
findings of facts.
The devil's on a pitchfork.
Okay. We all set? You find it?
Hers has an old one for some reason. It doesn't have condition D.
Not under the,
Keep going.
That's odd, because there should be only one in there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
not,
You were talking about that, that's under conditions of approval,
yeah,
right?
see, I'm in the conditions of,
So go, keep going.
and it's all A, B, A, B, A, B.
Yeah, it's condition D.
Yeah, hers is whacked.
Here, just go ahead
It
and,
goes A, B, A, B, A, B,
Yeah,
A,
there's
B.
no C or D.
There's no C or D or,
It's just A and B and A and B.
okay,
that,
we,
so.
that's a post-meeting,
Yep.
figure it out.
This thing
Okay, so
doesn't
just
love me.
read that, and then, Angie, after you read it, it's near the last page, we'll take a vote.
Okay. Okay.
All right. okay. Um, So, any further discussion on that section? Are people okay with the explanations in here? Okay. Rolf? Yeah? Okay. So I think we can just go straight ahead and make a motion to approve these as written. Moved by Mr. Harden, seconded by Ms. Cook. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. Okay, next on the agenda, we're a little bit ahead of time, but I see Mr. Seymour, so. Isaac Stevens subdivision, Isaac Stevens Road, map 17, lot 18D. A couple clarifications before we get started, and one question for the applicant. First, they do have standing, and does anybody wish to recuse themselves from this proceeding? Okay. In terms of notices, Mr. Seymour, did you happen to measure the distance from what is the land being retained, which is part of the application?
I believe so, yes.
Did you measure it to the Sweden town line?
We
Because
measured-
it's right around, there's a lot on the other side of that road, but it's very close to 500 feet.
The list is presented with you. I believe we took everything around the perimeter of the property.
Okay. That's fine. I think, Ms. Day, you did check what the GIS system had for that? All right, so, fine. The other thing I just wanted to mention for you and the board is throughout the application, it's called a two-lot subdivision. It's a three-lot subdivision.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
You're making 3 lots.
I understand, but one's retained by the owner.
yeah.
Still, you're making 3 lots, it's gonna be 3 deeds when you're done.
So it's a three-lot subdivision. So just keep that in mind, and the total property under consideration. Obviously, there's 18-something acres in the 2 lots that are going to be sold, but the total acreage of the subdivision is 40.
He also said in his application that he didn't want any waivers, and in the line below, he showed the waiver that he wanted.
I do
Yeah.
want a waiver for stormwater, my apologies, so. But
Okay,
not-
so we'll get to that. So with that kind of clarification, do we feel the application is complete? Looks like it. How many people are here for this application? Okay. So do we feel we need a public hearing?
No.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that, it doesn't look like the board wants to pursue a public hearing, but I'm going to suggest, since there are members of the public here that are abutters, that they're allowed to speak. Is the board, is that
I'm good with
acceptable
it.
to the board?
I'm good with that.
Okay?
I'll move so.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Mattson moves to allow the public to speak, seconded by Mr. Harden. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Thanks. Good idea. Do we want a site walk? Don't think so. Okay. So with that, and if folks don't mind turning the sound off of their phones,
More
please.
angels are getting their wings.
You don't want to put us to sleep here.
Getting everything.
Okay,
I'm milk and cookies.
all righty, so with that, Mr. Seymour, you're representing ML
LF.
Investments.
LF Investments, Mark Lopez.
So if you want to give an introduction to the project,
Thank
and then we'll take it from there.
I'm Jim Seymour, Senior Project Manager and Civil Engineer from Sebago Technics, here representing LF Investments tonight for this 3-lot subdivision located off Isaac Stevens Road. As the chair has told you, the overall parcel is a little over 40 acres. LF is proposing to cut off 2 lots for sale, lots 1 and 2, which are shown on the plan before you in green. The yellow is the land that's going to be retained by the owner in a different ownership. We presented the board with a packet that included test pits on the 2 lots for sale, and we included phosphorus calculations for the development. This will have no internal road. All the frontage is off Isaac Stevens Road. All overhead utilities will come off Isaac Stevens Road. This is in the watershed of Beaver Pond, and as I mentioned, we provide you with phosphorus calculations showing that with a 100-foot strip on the lowest lot, on Lot 1, the area in green against the exterior property line, we will meet that phosphorus export calculation. We feel this is a pretty straightforward application. Obviously, with 40 acres and only presenting 2 for sale, Mr. Lopez is clearly underestimating the amount of development potential out there, because clearly there could be a lot more lots if he were to do an internal road. We've gone through all of the components of the erosion, the subdivision ordinance in our cover letter. Again, the only waiver that we are requesting is the overall stormwater, because we have no internal road. We feel with a large acreage, there'll be more than enough to substantiate and hold the runoff from the individual single-family homes that would be proposed. And I think that's it. If the board does want to know about the phosphorus, we did make certain lot restrictions that are on your plan for the amount of impervious and the amount of clearing on each lot. So again, the idea is to keep this rural, keep this, large lots for sale, and not do any internal roads. So with that, I'll turn it over and let the public speak or board discuss.
Okay. It might be, I'm thinking it might be best to let the public speak first, and then for us to ask questions similar to what we do in a public hearing.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that? Okay. So if anybody from the public would like to speak on this application, either for or against or neither, please go to the mic, name and address, please. What's that? Right up there, sorry, at the podium. And name and address, please.
Go to the back.
Back.
The mic's right there.
Sorry.
So you're just speaking it over.
Jonna Chasse, I'm here for Christina.
Yeah, you gotta go around the other side.
So you face the board.
All right. Thank you. My name is Jonna Chasse. I actually own the property in Bridgton for over 20 years, and just within the last 8, put it over to my daughter, but I'm taking it back. My question is that the owner's retaining one portion of the 3 that's going to be subdivided. What is the intent of the 2 that are actually going to be sold? And if there is a plan for building on it, how many buildings are going to be put up? And are they going to be for private use, or is it going to be for rental? So that's one of the questions I do have.
Okay. Mr. Seymour, how do you want to do this? Do you want to answer the questions all at once, or as?
Yes.
Okay. So your questions are, how many buildings, will they be rentals or not, and what was your other?
I wanted to know if any of them were going to be private residences, and if so, how many?
Okay.
And how far back off of that road that they intend to put those buildings?
Off of Isaac Stevens
Yeah,
Road.
and how much woodage area they intended to keep? I mean, it's a big thing up here in Maine that we keep a certain percentage of our property to be wooded for the animals.
Okay. All right. We'll let the next person come up, and then Mr. Seymour will address those.
So my name's Julie Welchel, 31 Main Street, but we have an abutting property on the lower right-hand side. We're the largest abutter to this proposed subdivision. To the prior woman's comment or question about whether or not it's going to remain wooded, that dovetails into one of my questions about phosphorus export and phosphorus control. After this proposal was submitted to the town and we received our letter, this entire parcel was heavily logged. So my first question has to do with whether or not the phosphorus export and phosphorus control needs to be reevaluated. The maps that were used for reference in the application also show the pre-logged state. So my question about this long buffer on the northeast corner is, are you going to be cutting more of that property since it's already been extremely heavily cut? I mean, like 80% of the wood's been removed from that lot. So is more going to be logged and you're going to keep that 100-foot buffer? Or was that buffer left and no more logging is going to take place? Next, the proposal talks about these being sold for single-family homes, I believe, but I want to make sure that that's verified, that they're single-family home and not multifamily structures. And so that's the intent when you sell a property, but is there anything that's going to keep the new property owners from subdividing these lots further, including Mr. Lopez on the large lot? Will he be able to subdivide these further?
I could answer that question for you, Julie. The lots could be further subdivided, but only through an amendment to this board, so regardless of which of those 3 lots it is, if they were if somebody wanted to further subdivide them, they would have to put in an application to this board, very similar, essentially the same as what you've got here, and they would need approval from the board to do that.
Okay, thank
It
you.
would require an internal road too.
If the new subdivision regs, assuming we adopt them after the public hearing, then that would be the case, but that would be in the future.
So is there a time limit after which this is subdivided now that they have to wait for before they can subdivide or
No,
request for subdivision?
there's not a
Okay.
specific time limit.
Okay.
If it was only being subdivided in 2, then the applicant wouldn't need to appear before this board, and they could re-subdivide in 2 again in 5 years.
Okay.
But obviously, they're subdividing in 3, so they come to this board, and anything we would approve would require an amendment to change, regardless of what the change is.
Okay. Okay. Lastly, in the Sebago Technics letter dated October 17th, I'm sorry, yes, dated October 17th, talk about having the buffer for phosphorus in that dark green section, and on the other side of the lot that Lopez is keeping, that's the other buffer, but there's no mention of a rear buffer on our property. And like I said, that lot was heavily timbered, right up to our property line. I mean, if I'm a tree, this tree's gone. If I'm a tree on my lot, this tree's gone on their lot. So we were shocked that you could clear so close to an abutter's property. I mean, anywhere. That just was really surprising and very disappointing, especially after reading that they were going to subdivide it. So those are my questions.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
There's one person on Zoom, but I don't know if they're here for that or not.
Oh, yeah, I see somebody on the Zoom meeting. Did you wish to speak on Isaac Stevens subdivision? I'm gonna just to keep moving? I'm going to assume no. Thank you, Dan, for pointing that out. If, unless, Brenda, have you unmuted? Are they muted or not?
They're muted right now.
Greg, whoever you are, would you like to speak on Isaac Stevens? Tick-tock, tick-tock.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All righty. So, Mr. Seymour, could you come back up and address the questions, and then we'll get to the board comments?
So with regards to these being lots for sale, they are single-family lots for sale. Obviously, you answered the question, if somebody else wished to purchase those and further develop it, they would have to come back for an amended subdivision to this board and be reviewed as their own development. The intention is for single-family sales at this time. However, as we all know, nothing is carved in granite. There's no restriction from them possibly coming back, but that's Mr. Lopez's intention. As far as the logging, I was aware that he was going to log. It sounds as though he has conducted the logging. That doesn't change the phosphorus calculations because that is still a treed area, even though he's cut the big trees. It's actually, it sounds silly, but it may be beneficial in a year or two because the understory will actually have more root uptake for the buffers for phosphorus concerns. I understand that it does eliminate a visual buffer. However, my understanding is that the 100-foot buffer on the lower section will not be touched. So,
Can I add to that? So they do have.
Come to the mic, please, Brenda.
So I did receive in October a Maine forest permit for that area. So they do have one, which we have no say in. They are, harvest size is 35 acres for that.
Okay, thank you.
So again, yes, it's been cut, but for phosphorus calculations, we would still look at that as a wooded buffer because there is still wooded growth in there, and there would obviously be availability of younger growth to come up through and be act as a buffer. It just would be the 100-foot on the lower section. The topography rolls from the yellow down along Stevens Road to go to a lower point, so the topography actually rolls from left to right. That's why we did the buffer on the lower section, because that's where the stormwater would go. If the board so wishes to have some kind of buffer in the rear, Mr. Lopez is not here, so I can't speak to that. But again, we were anticipating that those house lots would be somewhere in the middle of the lot. Once you go beyond that, the cost ratio for building a driveway is exceptional. So the best land is actually in the middle of those lots. They could go out further to the front, but it would be close to the road. When we did our phosphorus calculations, we concluded that they would be back about 500 feet.
500 feet. Okay. Just a quick question to you before you get to the others, just for clarifications. Have you actually been to the site post it being
No, I have
lumbered?
not been since he's cut it. I was there in September before it was cut.
I was there today.
Okay, we'll get to that. Okay. All right, keep going.
I don't know what else there was. Single-family home. What's that?
How many structures?
There'll be single families, so they'll be restricted to one single family. I don't know, can you do a duplex if you wanted to? Or is that under multifamily?
They could do a duplex.
They could do a duplex. So again, he's selling these as single-family lots. The owner could possibly do a duplex, but that would be one structure on each lot, not separate structures. Once he goes beyond multi-structures, then he's in for an amended subdivision again because it's a dwelling and with a lot.
Yeah, I would suggest that if the owner of the property goes to build a duplex, it's 2 dwelling units, and that changes, that requires an amendment. So, just
Yeah,
a side note.
I understand that dwelling and lots kind of go symbolically together as
Yeah.
far as the state subdivision law.
Okay, what was the other?
There was one question about rentals.
Yeah, is there any intent for these to be rented out, or any stipulation that they can't be rented out?
There is no stipulation they can't be rented out, but Mr. Lopez's intention was for sale.
And then somebody asked, how much wooded area are you gonna leave?
I believe they are done logging at this point, do you know?
I'm not sure, I just have the permit, it says 35 acres, so I
Yeah.
don't know how much they've cut.
Yeah.
So what's confusing to me is in the application, it says, one of the assumptions of the, I think of the phosphorus export was 20,000 square feet. I took it to be per lot that would be
Correct.
cleared.
Right.
And,
Let me just clear that. That is grubbed and stumped for lawn areas. When we say cleared, we mean tree removal, complete removal, not just cutting. Cutting is a different practice than clearing and pulling up the roots. So when we
Okay.
say 20,000, we mean ground clearing. We mean pulling up the roots, clearing the land completely. When you cut, that does not quantify as, it quantifies as tree clearing, but not as land clearing for
okay, in
phosphorus
terms
cut.
of the assumptions in your,
Correct.
for the phosphorus
Right.
export.
That means lawns, septic systems, driveway, and house locations.
So I think the answer to the question is, unless it's already been cut for a home site, and I also drove by, I'll divulge that, but technically we haven't had it, aren't having a site visit. So I think we should be careful how we discuss this. So I'll defer to Mr. Madsen to describe what he saw. It's technically not a board visit, so it should be thought of as evidence in the record, but we gotta be careful not to do our own research, so to speak. But, so if I understand you correctly, and you haven't seen the site since it was cut, if it's been selectively cut, then there would still be a 20,000 square foot area, or about a half acre, that would be cleared or could be cleared in
Yeah.
order to build the house,
Correct. That could be
the
stumped.
driveway.
The driveway, the lawn areas, the septic system locations, those would be stumped and cleared.
So that would be all-inclusive for all of
Correct,
those.
correct. Everything else would remain in its natural state, as it is today. Be it if he
Alright.
cut it, it'd be allowed to grow back up.
And could you, I don't know if you're gonna have questions about phosphorus, Kathy, but could you just explain, at least in layman's terms, why the fact that it was cut after the phosphorus export calculations were done, why they're still valid?
Unless he absolutely clear cut the entire lot. If there are trees remaining, it's still a treed lot, it's wooded. That vegetation underneath is allowed to come up and could be treated as a wooded buffer. The only way a meadow would come in is if it were cleared of all trees and it was just a high grasses. In a meadow buffer, you've seen cases before your board, you're allowed to go in and clear that meadow twice a year under DEP practices. You can take a hayfield, you can take a marshy area, you can clear that twice a year under a meadow buffer. Everything else that is allowed in its natural state to come up with trees is a wooded buffer. And the idea is it's in the root uptake of the vegetation, not so much as the high canopy.
Okay. I'll have other things, but I thought I'd go to the board. Ken?
Just a quick question. Is the 100-foot buffer area, was that part of the tree clearing?
I'm not aware it is. My understanding was when I spoke to Mr. Lopez, he was going to keep that area free from clearing. So I know it's 35 acres, there's 40 acres total. I assume that is the area that he left undisturbed. Because we had discussed about trying to do that.
Can I ask Brenda a question?
Yeah.
Brenda, was there a permit for cutting on the other side of the road?
Well, I got one from Maine Forestry, let me just find it again, hold on, I can get that.
So Brenda, just a follow-up question. In the description of the logging, did it exclude that buffer strip?
Yeah, I asked that.
Is that what you were asking, Ken?
So the main forestry permits are pretty vague. They just notify me, that's all they're required to do, so that I know that there's logging going on. So all it says is, active date, so they sent it 10/10, Isaac Stevens Road, Lopez property, Keel's doing it, and the start date is 10/11, and operation end date was 10/11, so it sounds like they had,
And what's the total acreage?
35. 35.
35?
Yeah.
Okay, so 35 of the 40
Yep.
acres, okay.
And I'm not sure if that end date oh, no, wait a minute, 10, sorry, let me say that again. Operation start date is 10/11/2023, operation end date is 10/11/25. So they have 2 years.
Okay,
That's just what they have on the permit. I mean, but that's all the information I get, and it just says who's doing it and how many acres. It just says Isaac Stephen Road, so I don't.
okay, so it's
Doesn't give me a map
35,
and lot, doesn't give me any of that.
okay, 35 of the 40 acres, okay. I think that's as close as we're going to get to your question, Ken. So not all of it's being,
Right, and within that, obviously, there's some select cut, so it's not a total clear cut.
yep, okay. Other questions from the board? Ms. DiPietro?
Yes.
Make sure you speak up.
Okay. It's closer. A number of questions. I see the results of 2 test pits on the drawings, but there wasn't anything in the report that actually gave you the layers of the test pits and the findings
Oh,
of.
the log should have been in there. I apologize if you did not get the
Don't-
logs.
Did any, maybe I missed it, but I didn't think I saw that.
They specified the soil, but. I
Yeah,
don't
there's-
know
well,
if
there's
it
a
was
soil
in the
map.
Okay,
right.
well, we do have the logs, so we'll make sure you get the soils logs.
That would be one thing. There's also, your wetlands delineator, did they produce a report?
We can get one. It was done by Mark Hampton, so I'm sure that we could get a wetland report if the board so requires.
Okay, could you give me a general idea of the area of the wetlands in Lot 1?
Yes, there are the areas that are mapped in blue on
Well,
that.
yeah, I figured
Oh.
that part out. What I want to know is, like, did you calculate the land area?
Oh, the
of
actual
that
land area, no,
9
we did
acres?
not. No, we avoided the wetlands. We had no wetland impact, so we did not calculate those.
So do you know if those wetlands are contiguous? Do they proceed on to the 2 abutting lots? Is it 10 acres total, or?
I am not sure. I know there's a stone wall that runs down through there and those wetlands. We did not go on to the abutting property.
Okay.
So I can't answer that
So there's no way
question.
of knowing whether
No.
it's a,
No. It's, I can just tell you that the type of wetland is, it's just a wet forested mat wetland. It's not an open emergent wetland or anything like that.
okay.
Kathy, I would, I mean, I'm looking at the perimeter survey map, and, I mean, the wetlands get cut off in a straight line, that's the lot line.
Right.
I assume that they do go over that lot line. One looks like it's narrowing,
Right,
the other, it's hard to tell what it's doing. Clearly, there's a stone fence right in front of the one that's to the north,
yes.
so.
Yes. Yeah, they're all forested wetlands.
They were forested wetlands.
What's
They
that?
may not be anymore.
What do you mean?
They were forested wetlands.
Oh, there still
They
be
may-
forested wetlands, even though he clear cut the, if you think he cut the trees, there's still forested wetland of the
Okay.
definitions.
So, your explanation of where the building envelopes
Mhm.
would be, and you assume a driveway of 500 feet approximately?
Correct.
And you only have a cleared area of 20,000 square feet?
Yep.
But if your driveways are 14 feet wide and 500 feet long, that's about 7,000
Yep,
of your
and
square feet?
we understood that,
That doesn't
and,
give you
yep,
much?
yep,
Okay.
we just wanted to kind of keep them in a forested area for those single-family lots.
So these would be
So-
about looking at the lots.
And that's the worst-case scenario, so just, so you know.
Yeah.
If somebody could definitely build closer to Stevens, and some may want to build closer to Stevens, depending on what their budget is for driveway.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
That's why we put the budget in there for impervious surface. So we looked at the worst-case scenario with the understanding that somebody wants to build closer, they obviously have the right to do that and save themselves some money.
Okay, that is most of my questions.
Yeah, I know that there's some follow-up questions from the public, but why don't we get through the board questions and then we'll get back to the public. Anybody else? Ken? And then Dee.
Yeah, just a couple of quick questions. Will the deeds to the properties, lots 1 and 2, have any restrictions written into them? For instance, one single-family home?
I'd have to ask Mr. Lopez that question. I was not aware that he was going to put any restriction on those. Again, that's what he's selling it as. If somebody else wants to modify that, come back, they could, but his intention is for just selling the land as is for a single-family home. I don't think anybody who sells a piece of land restricts it to just one single family.
Well, it can be
So-
done, of course.
Can I add to that a little bit? So this is a lot split. The houses would have to come in for permitting, which would require additional review from myself prior to that happening. And if it was going to be more than, I mean, because right now, we're just doing a complete land split. It's not, there's no houses, nothing on it yet. So whoever purchases that would have to come in with a plan to myself to say, I want to build a duplex or a multifamily home. That's when that decision would be made to either have to come back for an amendment to the planning board or a permit through myself would be. I mean, because Mark's not building the houses, so it's kind of just, it's a lot split. That's, you know, that's it. Until somebody buys it and makes a decision on what they want to do to that property. And then they have to come in and figure out where we need to go from there.
But just one comment in terms of driveways, they would have to be, the home would have to be a minimum of 75 feet from the road, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, because there's a 75-foot setback.
Yeah. Okay, and frontage has to remain at
Right, so they would have-
minimum of 100 feet.
So they would have to meet, if they were gonna build a single-family home, they would have to meet the land use ordinance in order to do so. So it's
Right.
not, you know, it's a free-for-all if they buy this property and they can just put in an apartment building or anything like that. That's all determined through what the people that purchase it want to do.
But if they did want to do a duplex, that would require an amendment. If we write it as single-family home in there.
According to the ordinance, I disagree with that, because the way I understand it, so if you have a home right now, and you have an attached garage, and you put an in-law apartment above it, that's not counted as two, that's one principal structure. So, I mean, the duplex, anything past a duplex, definitely, 100% needs to be, because it's a multifamily. Duplexes, if it's, because you can have
I didn't see
an
any.
in-law apartment
An ADU.
if it's attached. So I kind of disagree on that. Duplexes, I believe, could be done. I don't believe anything past, I know nothing past that could be done without an amendment.
Unless we specifically wrote in
Correct.
the findings that it would be single-family homes.
Correct.
And then in that case.
And if that's
And
what,
that would still allow an in-law apartment or an accessory structure because the
If-
code's very clear on that.
yes.
But if it were truly two dwelling units.
Yep.
As a duplex, then
And if he
it
writes
would
it in
depend on
as,
how we wrote the
and if he
findings.
writes it as a single family,
Correct.
you know, he would also want to add that, you know, an in-law apartment would be allowed if they wanted to do that. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, it's a subdivision, they can make their own
An
rules.
accessory dwelling unit.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Ms. Miller?
I wanted to get back to the tree clearing and no impact on phosphorus, which I do understand. But what does that have to do with any erosion? Because
That
the
is,
leaves on the trees do slow down the water as it falls. I know that once it falls, wherever it falls, the phosphorus would be the same. But is there any impact on erosion without the filtering and the distribution management that the trees do?
I believe under the, well, she left me now. I believe under the tree management of the woodcutters, they have to abide by certain erosion control practices as well. In this case, as long as they don't stump the land, in other words, pull the stumps up, they just cut the logging and leave the stumps, there should be no adverse impacts to erosion. Now, the only time that may not play is if they had a haul road or something like that where they were tracking in and out, and they did create an erosion issue. However, it is under their permit that they're supposed to address that.
And the logging was on all three of the lots?
I am not sure, I believe so, if it's 35 acres, it must be.
Right, okay.
Can you comment, just relative to Dee's question as a follow-up? Is on that western border of the lot, the yellow lot there, it's not, yeah, right on that western border, really right where the lot line is. It's not, I don't see it on the perimeter survey, but the perimeter survey doesn't extend beyond his property. Is there a road that follows alongside that?
No, but there is a field area to the west.
Okay.
There may be a field road there, but there is no,
Is there a road going into the remaining lot?
not unless the loggers just put that in for a haul road.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Mr. Rolfe, Mr. Madsen.
Well, there is a road at the top, I'm not sure where the, by the way, it's a select cut, it looks like they took out all the softwoods.
Yeah, I believe they took the pine and the
They
hemlock.
took the pine out, they didn't left all the hardwoods there.
Right, and there was quite a bit of hardwood up on top, so.
There is a road up there, I'm not sure where the road.
There was an access road, I don't know what you want to call it, a road, but I do know there was a.
It's pretty good.
Okay, and that, it was not there before when I visited. If it's on this property, if it's on the adjacent property, I didn't go on the adjacent property. And again, it may be just a haul road that the loggers used.
Isaac, this road, that's a town road, correct?
Yes, it is.
You had said in your application, are there any deed restrictions or covenants? You said yes. What are they?
Yeah, he didn't, he said no.
He said no.
Oh, he did
I'm
not.
reading it right here, line 20. Are there any deed restrictions or covenants? Yes.
Oh, the only covenants would be the restriction of, you would put the restriction of the wooded buffer on lot one.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's,
That's the only restriction, yes. And I just wanted to make sure that was clear in there, that we would have to put a restriction on lot one.
and I'm just like, who owns across the street?
I
Because that's all been cut and there's lots for sale there too.
am
You'd
not-
have to look at
Yeah,
the,
that's
Just
not-
asking if the applicant.
No, I do not know, that's not Mark, so,
Okay. But it isn't the applicant.
it's not the applicant, no.
I think Mr. Harden is pulling up a map, so I'll go to D. Miller right now.
I'm always amazed what he can get out of his phone. I was looking at the application, and everywhere it's mentioned, proposed two-lot, well, we know it's three, but it's referred to as a residential subdivision, and there's no mention in the printed material that they're going to be single-family homes. So when you are speaking and saying that's the intention, is that really the intention? Because if it's approved as a residential subdivision, then, as our code officer has pointed out, there's no restriction on a duplex residential structure. So I want to know, because if the planning board acts in a certain way, then they'd be, in a sense, putting a condition on that was never mentioned by the applicant himself.
Yes, Mr. Lopez was very specific that he wanted this to be called a residential subdivision, so I do believe if that option exists, that somebody could put a duplex on there, I believe Mr. Lopez would want that.
All right, okay.
I mean, he wants all the options for selling his property that he can.
All right, so now we're saying that he really has not intended a single-family home
No,
as
he's
opposed to.
a residential subdivision,
It
whatever
could
that
be-
would allow.
It could be either.
Right.
All right. he would sell for either, and there's no
I
deed
feel pretty
restriction.
comfortable if he were here, he'd be saying that loud and clear.
Well, I know whatever he's saying, it would be loud and clear, and I wish he were.
I wish he were
because,
too, but unfortunately, he's unable to make it this evening.
That's what I wanted, that's why I asked the question.
Thank you. No, I
Because I
think that-
wanted to make sure
Yeah, and I
that
was
what
uns-
he intends
Yep.
is what you're
Yep.
saying and vice versa.
He wants the most options he can to sell these as a
I
residential
figured,
lot.
so
Yep.
it could easily be
Yep.
a duplex.
Could be.
All right. And if we were to put in there that it must be single-family homes, then I'm concerned that we might be putting a burden on the applicant that we've never put on other applicants. Normally,
I was-
they talk about single-family homes or duplex.
I don't think we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, I don't think he wants anything different than you do for any other residential subdivision.
I think so, I think you're right. And we have had people who
Okay,
have talked
let's
about
not,
that and changed.
let's not get to deliberations quite yet.
That was really a clarification.
Thank you.
Okay. Ralph, did you have anything else?
No, I'm fine with it.
Angie?
No, no question.
Dan?
No, most of mine have been answered, so I think I'm good to go.
Make sure it's all in. The homes are to be sprinkled.
Yes, there's no fire suppression in any in close proximity, so they would have to be sprinkled.
Okay, that's a requirement of the subdivision.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Does that go in the deed?
What was the question?
Brenda, how is that, could you address, I think that would be handled when they go to build, you pull the findings, and the findings should say that,
And it's-
or a condition
And
must
it's
say
on
that
the
it's.
plan as well, we have a
I like
note
it
on the
on the
plan.
site plan, that's been where they've been putting them when they've had.
On the site plan?
It is on the plan.
And I can reflect it, I would reflect it in the findings. Yeah.
Note number 12, lots 1 and 2 will be required to install fire sprinklers.
The road is right here. Right here.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, I think somebody from the public had a follow-up. If you could go to the mic, name and address, please.
I'm Rick Welchel, 31 Main Street, with the property 71 Whitney. We just got our street number, thank you. This is probably more for the board. I just have a question. What conditions or what circumstances dictate you doing a site walk? Under what circumstances would you do that? Can an abutter request it? Is it, I mean, under what circumstances do you decide to do a site
It
walk?
could be any number of circumstances. Often a site walk is done for the board to get the lay of the land and understand where structures are gonna go, how they're gonna face. You know, make some, make sure they get a very clear picture of how the land might be developed. We don't typically do site walks for a subdivision of this size. I will mention that since the applicant is going to resubmit some information, the thought has occurred to me that because of the size of the property and the fact that it's been lumbered, and the fact that 2 of us have seen it, but, well, and technically 3 of us, but we really can't report on it, that it might not be a bad idea to have a site walk. But typically for something of this nature, you know, it's not on water, it's not on a water body, it doesn't have an interior road or additional infrastructure, and the intent is for 2, maybe 3 structures on that 3rd lot. Typically, we wouldn't.
And I guess my question
But
revolves.
there's no set rule.
And Deb, it's also in a public way.
Correct.
And my question revolves more around, and I am not a land scientist, I don't understand, I'm not a forester, but this whole phosphorus question, I think it might benefit you to see the after when you're talking about the whole phosphorus question. And again, I don't know how that impacts. The second thing, and I know this is probably not required, we've talked a lot about the 2 lots that are being sold. And Mr. Lopez has said he's going to retain this 3rd lot. I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share what his intentions are for that lot. I just would appreciate if we knew, because we're a direct abutter to that property as well.
So just to understand, does your property run, can you show where it runs? That across all three lots?
three.
Okay.
Our property touches all three.
So you are the largest abutter?
We are the largest abutter.
Okay.
I want to add something else too, sorry, as I'm looking at this a little bit more and hearing the questions you have. Technically, 2 houses could go on these lots because they have the acreage, they have the frontage, it doesn't create another subdivision. So they could have 2 houses on these lots. So even if you wanted to do a duplex, it would be allowed because they're 9 acres. 9-acre lots and they have 400 and something foot of frontage. So in order to have 2 houses, you got to have 100-foot frontage for each.
There's not enough frontage to have 2 houses.
There's 400 and,
Not on,
Each one.
460.
That's not the road.
no, the road's at the other
Road's on
end,
the
Brenda.
top.
end.
All the way up.
On the top.
I don't believe there's
the top,
enough for
Brenda.
2.
Probably is not on the other.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Unless they put in a shared driveway, then they could get frontage off that because that would create a road.
Yeah, outside that one thing that's making me uncomfortable is that it seems like there's a lot of ways to get around the subdivision regs. I mean, this is a lot split, I understand. It's intended to be 3 lots, and it's intended to be single-family homes, but it sounds like it could mushroom from 2 single-family homes to, clearly to 4 structures. So, with a shared driveway, which, depending on how far it goes in, when do you call that? I know it's your call. When do you call that an interior road and
Well,
part of
because
infrastructure?
typically when you're doing a subdivision, most, I'm just saying most, not all, most subdivisions, when we're reviewing them, they're 1 acre to 2 acre lots. This is a 9-acre parcel.
Yeah, no, I
So that,
understand.
that's why it seems a little more extreme, because you can do more with 9 acres than you could with 2 acres. You're you're pretty restricted on 2 acres for that area.
Yeah.
2 acres, you could only have 1,
Yeah.
because you would only have enough acreage and frontage for 1.
Okay.
So
Can you
again-
answer Mr. Weschel's question about
What Mr.
the
Lopez
third
wishes?
lot? Yeah.
The third lot, all I understand is Mr. Lopez intends to keep that in the family, whether he deeds that to family members or what, I'm not disclosed what he wants to do, I can't speak for him. I do
Yeah.
know he wants to keep it with his family for the time being. And back to the question about duplexes, the other question that may answer this a little bit is there's a lot restriction currently for clearing. So if they were to gonna go over that, I don't know if they have to go back to the board, if they were going to amend that. So that may be another beneficial, is that we've only anticipated the phosphorus for a single family, basically. So if they go over that allowance, then they have
That's an
to,
amendment.
they have to come back to an amendment.
Would you agree with that, Ms. Day?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. DiPietro, I have a question from you. Do you feel, given your background, do you feel, and given the explanations about phosphorus, do you feel that it's still valid without seeing the property? Because I do recognize that phosphorus studies are done on size and slope and all that, but if you could just comment on that.
Yes, I have some concerns. I mean, theoretically, logging shouldn't be a major impact, but it depends on how carefully the logging was done and also the amount of, let's call it, collateral damage. I mean, if there are ruts and pits and we've taken all the undergrowth because of the way the speed at which it was done and the lack of care potentially, then it's hard to tell what, have we dug up enough dirt such that erosion control is going to be an issue, sedimentation, in which case we'd undo the phosphorus calculations that we so carefully assumed. So
Okay.
we don't know.
Mr. Manson?
I think that if the applicant has to come back with some further information, one of the things the applicant can come back with is photographs of the work that's been done there, especially to what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And you can see how well what the color cutting was done, what's been cut. It gives us a better idea of what we're talking about.
I think, what's the board think about that idea? I mean, my idea was either site walk or have Brenda go, but I think photographs are better.
So so just so I'm clear, you want photographs, and you'd like us to do an assessment as to the ground condition, to whether it's a buffer or meadow or whatever buffer would be at this point, or whether erosion control would have to be undertaken to correct any, what you call collateral damage?
Collateral damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it might require
Yeah.
several photos,
Yep.
and if some of those photos could be, easier to point.
You need a laser.
Yeah, I know, but then I might, it's
may.
really gonna be on. So I see there's a stone wall here, obviously.
Yes.
So if, because, I'm looking at a Google map that Dan showed me, it shows some clearing, but it's really unclear to me where exactly
Yep.
it is. So if one of the photos could run along this wall,
Okay.
and then also run along here as well as.
What we
within
could do is
these.
we could give you a plan showing you how we took the photographs and where we took the photographs and the lines that we took. We'll just take this plan, basically shrink it down, and then just put where we took the photograph and the aim that we took the photograph.
Okay,
So-
yeah, so we can visualize it.
Yep.
And then I think that would be very helpful. Mr. Gibbs?
I would suggest that the photos would be inadequate compared to a sidewalk. What we're talking about now is possible rutting and possible places where water can pool on the property and exactly how the clearing took place. And I don't think photographs will tell you exactly, because it all depends upon where the photograph is taken.
Well, my concern about a site walk at this point is we need to do it
It
before
gets
they come
snow.
back in December,
Tomorrow.
and it's a lot of acreage. We can't really designate a board member to do it, we can designate the CEO, so maybe we should, go ahead.
I just want to say, first of all, any damage is done at this point is the responsibility of the forester. That's their responsibility for clearing the lot. If there are pools, that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, to Mr. Pietro's comment, if those pools create concentrated flow, which further causes erosion in channel form, then there's an issue. I think if it's been select cut, even though it looks devastating, most of the time the surface damage is limited and not as bad as people think it is. I do think that if we can take photographs, we can obviously provide you evidence, and we can give you an assessment of the erosion and assessment of the surface condition.
How's the board feel? And is the board okay with Mr. Russell?
I'm sorry, we do aerial photographs.
Oh,
We need to get the CEO.
you have to have a,
Yeah, we got a drone.
if you have a drone, yeah.
It is a possibility that I might be able to do that. I don't have a drone, but I know somebody over in the corner that might be able to help
Okay.
us.
Would you,
He's looking.
I'm looking at which corner you want.
Well,
Mr. Seymour, do you think that would,
but is that gonna tell us the erosion control and the phosphorus? That's
really
not
not.
really gonna answer our
no,
questions.
it's just
I
gonna
think we're
give,
just going down a slippery slope here with
Yeah,
all of this.
I
really
agree
do.
with that.
I mean,
I think photographs will provide us with the information that we need to see.
or a video, let him take a video of the ground in
okay, why don't we
question.
do photographs, video, and Ms. Day, any objection to you going along on this walk and making observations alongside them?
Thank you.
Wear
Okay.
lots of orange.
I think we just really, well, all we're trying to determine here is, do the assumptions of the phosphorus export still hold? So what you're really looking for is damage to the land,
Yes.
in the way that Ms. DiPietro described it, okay? So let's keep it to that. Mr.
Again, I'm going back to all these discussions and sidewalks and public hearings. You all know my feelings on certain ones. We're making it very difficult for anybody to do business in this town.
Yes, we are.
We wouldn't be requiring this on every single one. I personally did land clearing on my own lot, where I'm building a condo association. Nobody came out and looked at it afterwards. There was not much damage done with the cutting. As Mr. Seymour said, if there is damage that is done, okay, the damage is done. They have to come back in and fix it. It's not gonna change the phosphorus, because they're gonna put it back to what it was, if there was damage.
I don't think Ms. DiPietro agrees with you. I think Ms. DiPietro says it would change the phosphorus, so it would have to go
But they
back.
would, but again, you have to go after the contractor that did the land clearing
That
to,
would be the arborist that
to
cleared
make
Lincoln.
it right. Put it back to what it was. I
But-
could be wrong on that, but
But,
I believe
Yeah.
my
But-
permit, when I pulled a logging permit in this state, it said if there was damage, the guy that did the work would fix it.
okay, well,
And-
that can easily,
and it-
easily be written as a condition, if that's the case. Hopefully, it's not the case. It could easily be written as a simple condition.
We cannot do that. We have no control over
So
Maine
then what you would
forestry
have to do
permits.
is a recalculation of
Correct.
the phosphorus
As far as the
export.
forestry piece of it, if you look up the statute, because when we did the land use, we tried to regulate it, and our attorney said, oh, no, you can't do that, because we don't,
I recall.
we can't. So we can't do anything to do with the cutting, as far as that goes. We can recalculate erosion control measures and phosphorus, but we can't do anything about the cutting.
I think, Ms. Miller, and then let's try to finish this up.
I know we like to make everybody happy, which is impossible, but we try. I think that, number one, you could not sell this for development if it looked like a nuclear wasteland. So I don't think that that would happen. Secondly, the lots are very large, and for even, for a single family or a duplex, a sole structure, I don't think the impact of development is going to be that great. And as our CEO pointed out, it really is a land split. It's not a full subdivision where you have 20 lots, regardless of how large they are, but dealing with roads and traffic and everything. It's a simple lot split and very large lots. So I think we should treat it that way. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to respond to some real concerns that people have. But these are concerns that anybody would have with any lot that's next door when something's going on. And we can't control all of those things. I think it's beyond our scope to do anything more than treat this as a land split
But,
with big lots.
but you still have to have an accurate, a reasonable phosphorus export. And I guess I'll ask the board to take a vote on this, because since
I'm more
since
concerned
the
about erosion myself.
I mean, since the applicant has to come back with a few items anyway, and since they're okay with taking the photos and walking the land, and since those of us that have seen it can't really truly testify to it properly as board members, then because our opinion, Dan's opinion, Rolf's opinion, my opinion of what I saw, that's why we go as a group. So photos would serve to, I think what Kathy's saying is, she thinks it's okay, but there's a way to know. And it seems like the photographs are the way to close that up. And if there are major issues, then, you just,
You've got to come back with information, provide us information that will say, give us
yeah.
the information that we need to make the decision.
So
pretty simple.
that's where I am is, I'm not saying that anything improper was done. I'm saying we as a board haven't seen it and there's some contention. And I think we should try to wrestle that to the ground. I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong.
And the applicant agent hasn't seen it either.
Right.
So, realistically, we can get the information that we need, and we can be done with this.
Ms. Miller?
I move that because the land has been, the nature of the land has substantially changed recently, that we would get better information if we have photographic evidence of the condition of the property, and that should come back with the other information that we've asked for.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Are you opposed or in favor?
No, I'm in favor, that's fine.
Okay, 5-0.
Can we be really specific of where you want pictures? Or, I mean, we're not walking 40 acres, so. Well, I'm not.
No,
So we
I
need-
think I have a pretty good
You
idea.
have a pretty good
what-
idea. I just want to
Yeah,
make sure
I
that
mean-
we get what you were looking for. that's all.
We asked for along these borders, okay? And I think you certainly want to just walk in enough and take additional photos so that we
I
can
mean,
see.
it isn't that much
This
of a
goes up a
rising
hill,
area
right?
either.
Oh, it goes up there a ways.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying is, you can,
Yeah.
the way it's set up now, you can see quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you have a,
Along here.
take a picture, you can see a
along
long
here,
ways with a picture.
Walk in a little bit. You don't have to walk the entire.
5 miles in here, you know.
No, it's
No.
not.
It
I
is,
mean,
it is 1,500 feet back there, it is a ways.
if the Weshels want to give permission to take photos from this direction, that's fine too.
Now, we can take them along the property line, we can identify, we can find for markers and.
They seem to be okay with that. All right?
Was there logging done right next to your property? Okay, so then maybe we should have pictures of that too.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, they
we'll
would have
get-
had to abide by, the
we can-
loggers would have had to identify the property line, they
Yeah,
can't blow
so
it
we'll
up.
get,
We had it clearly marked.
Yeah.
The line was clearly marked.
Yeah.
There's no evidence at all that the loggers went over that line, none at all.
Okay.
So let's be fair about that. We were surprised that there was no buffer. That surprised us, that they went right to the property.
And I just,
And just that it was done after the phosphorus.
and just understand, where we had planned for the houses, that's still 500, at least 500 feet from their property line.
yeah, so the
No, that's-
500 feet in and
True, but they'd have to redo the
I
calculation.
think this is 1,100, this was like 1,500 or 1,100 feet on
Yeah, it's
the
like
map.
1,200, yeah.
So it's gonna, it will be
Exactly.
right here,
Yeah, that's where we had planned the
This will be
home to
right
be,
there.
yes, yeah.
if that's what they do.
And if they do any more than that, then to your point, they'd have to come back with revised phosphorus
I have a
calculations.
440-foot long driveway. Okay, so what are the things we need? We need
So those logs,
the soil logs, the photographs. There was something else somebody requested.
wetland area?
The wetland area, yep.
There's a couple of things you had, Kathy.
Yeah, it was whether it was delineated, but I asked if there was
A report, yeah, wetland area. and
Yeah, the
report.
report, there we go.
You want it from the test pits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and soil
information
logs.
from the test bits, yes.
Okay, so the soil logs, the wetlands
Area
report or
report
summary,
and
and the
photographic.
photographs.
Yep.
And if,
Test pits.
yeah, yeah, that's the soil logs.
That's the soil
Yep.
logs.
And so you would bring those back in December, and I would certainly, as chair, aim to deliberate and render a decision on that evening.
Okay.
Okay, and I will probably start writing findings anyway, so.
All right,
Okay,
thank you very much.
thank you.
Good luck.
Yes.
All righty. Onwards.
Restaurant.
Next on the agenda is, the rest is 20.
A Vietnamese restaurant.
Yes.
Yes, Mai Hoa. Is that right? Mai Hoa Restaurant? Okay. This is on Main Street, map 23, lot 89. This is a pre-application, so we will provide non-binding advice to the applicant. The applicant has standing. Which one of you is the owner?
Andy.
Andy, okay? And you're the agent.
Actually, this is the Tin Trong and the Tran. We are partner of my
Okay.
restaurant group.
Yes.
And it looks like proper notice was given. So we're all set on that. Does anybody wish to recuse themselves? Well, it's only a pre-app, but, okay. So if you could you just say your name one more time for me?
Tin, like Tin Man.
T-Man,
Tin Man.
okay.
Please give me about a couple of minutes to share with you a little bit about our background and why the reason we want to open the restaurant and what our mission. Again, my name is Tin Trong. This is my nephew, Andy Tran. Andy is the businessman. He owns 2 nail salons, one at Northway for 20 years, and another one next to the restaurant we're going to open. And I'm engineer. I have been practice engineer field for about 36 years, and right now I am the engineer for NASA in Houston. So I'm on a project to bring the first lady astronaut to the moon next year.
Wow,
Yeah.
awesome.
We're proud of lady now.
With some carry-out food, right?
Yeah. So what the reason we want to open the restaurant here? And everybody agree with me. Right now, the population in Bridgton increase, and a lot of tourists around every year, increase every year. And especially Andy operates on a nail salon, meet with a lot of customers, and they chit chat, and he catches a lot of people need food, especially on Asian food, I mean, especially on Vietnamese food. This is the first Vietnamese restaurant in the town, in Bridgton. Right now, if they want to eat the Vietnamese restaurant, they have to go to Portland to have the dinner. So that's the main reason for our open the restaurant, the demand there. And also, Andy owns about 4 units from Harrison, corner Harrison to Main, and we try to improve the building look better, and that's another reason too. So talking about the what kind of food we serve, and I'm not sure if you have a chance to taste the spring roll
I'm getting hungry.
and egg roll, and especially fried rice. It's like the one at the China restaurant is closing, and noodle. Especially one place is called Pho, P-H-O. They have the beef noodle soup or chicken noodle soup, and I mean that's wonderful. That's popular in everywhere. So talking about building, the building have been assist for so many years, and the previous owner, they sell the antiques item back a few years ago. So they move out empty, and because we realize that the demand about food in this town, we jump up to convert that unit to become the restaurant. So the unit have been there, have restroom already there, the sprinkler system for the safety already there, and the wall, the electricity have been upgraded. It is ready to use. The door, exit door, and the emergency door go to the basement, get out. The building is exactly like this building. In front, that's the first level. In the back, that's the basement. And the customer can run from that door behind, go basement, access the outside. No, actually, I'm not expert on the fill out the application. I apologize for our poor diagram and paper size. And when I talk with several consultants, even one is say, hey, this job is too small. Another one say, I am so busy, so because the time constraint. So I asked Mr. Day, when I really impressed the lady in city, that really good service. I came from Houston. I live in Houston over 40 years. I'm Texan. I've tried to bring some warm water to men. So she helped me a lot on the application. But I know application not perfect, especially on the diagram side, whatever. But I will upgrade later. So the building, just amazing. The building about 24 wide and 62 long. And in the upstairs, we have the same size, but downstairs, we're going to cut about almost a half for the kitchen. We're going to put the wall to cover the kitchen. And when people walk in the door, we have the drinks, even like coffee section. People can stop by to pick up the cup of coffee or boba or a smoothie. And walk a little farther, we have the to-go section. Food display there. I mean, especially some kind of, I don't know, have you tasted the Vietnamese bread? It look like Subway, but we have the special one, put the barbecue or chicken or ham, whatever. People can walk in.
No more of this.
People can walk in, take the lunch box with the coffee or boba, and they walk out in 5 minutes. That intend to serve. So the building have been there, everything. Right now we try to remodel, make it beautiful. We're going to replace the front door to look new. The glasses, it been make a brand new, look the building brighter. And inside we go to make a floor, new floor, and around the wall we go to have a granite about 3 or 4 feet. Look, is beauty, and people really walking happy for it. I make sure this one the best or the cleanest in the town. I will prove that to the board in the future.
Okay. All right, so thank you very much for that introduction. So the board is here to help give you any advice for when you submit your full application, and also to answer any questions. So I will, and so what I'd ask is the board to focus on helping the applicant in terms of what they need to provide us with. Maybe some basic questions, but not to get into review. So who would like to start? Mr.
Before that, can I submit you the map around that building? That the new feature.
Is that new?
I know the board going to ask about location of parking, this and that.
Okay, so what you'll want to do, this is fine for now, but you'll want to make sure that this is included in when you do the full application along with all the other papers, okay?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
okay, all right. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Need is the permit, remember?
I have to faint from hunger.
I know, I haven't been there either. Thank
So you see the unit 268, that's the one we're going to operate the restaurant.
Okay.
Can I ask how many parking spaces that you're going to have available behind the building?
Okay, before to answer that question, let me bring up the operation hour. From 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., we just serve food to go. It means the people just walk in, take the lunch box, and they walk out. And we just put like 7 tables, small table, equivalent about 28 people maximum for the food to go. But during at night, from 4:45 to 9 o'clock, we have the upper unit for people sit down for dinner.
Okay, so what you'll.
So the parking, to answer your question, the parking, you see the map right here? In front of building, we have 5 parking and 1 emergency. And in the back, right here, the total about 28 square feet, 2,800
Okay,
square.
but let me just stop you. Those parking spots in front of your building, those are
Right.
town parking spots.
Yes.
Those are not allotted to
I
any business.
realize that.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
so,
in the back of building,
Uh-huh,
we have about 2,800 square feet,
okay,
equivalent about 11 parking.
okay.
yeah, so what you'll want to, so let me back up a minute and then I'll get to Dan. So what you'll want to do, I don't want to mispronounce your name.
Tin.
Ting. You're gonna want to look at, two, you're gonna, I'll say, want to maybe focus on 2 major areas in the ordinance. One is the submission requirements for a site plan review. And that's in the ordinance. Staff can help walk you through it. But for instance, and it looks like you've taken a stab at it, one of the things, you'll see that there's a section called fees, exhibits, supplemental forms and notices. And it tells you what's required for a full application. Now, what you want to do is submit these items. So for instance, one is a site plan. In the site plan, there's actually a couple sections that have submission requirements, but normally you would give us a site plan that shows everything on the lot, all the structures, et cetera. And normally that would be updated by an engineer. Now, you're not making any changes to the building, except it sounds like an elevator on the back?
No, actually, it's there.
Oh, it's already there.
It's already there.
Okay.
No, the elevator is not there, but we keep the same shape of the building. We, in the future, we add that is one, that is elevator behind the building.
So I just want to be clear, there is no elevator there now,
No,
but you're going to be installing an elevator?
No, ma'am. Let me go back one step. From the restaurant unit, we have a door to go, have a stair to go basement, already there,
Okay,
already there.
okay.
You just make sand and make it beautiful. The people can walk to that door, go downstairs to go basement, and get out. Already there, have been assisted.
Okay, so there's not gonna
No
be an elevator?
structure change at all.
But you do plan on serving food on this, on another, of the second floor,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the next door, that's the stair to walk to the second floor.
You gotta make sure, as a comment, you take into consideration ADA, American Disability Act.
It's got to be wheelchair accessible.
Yes, yes. We plan to make a curve at the door, have the handle. People
But it's also inside your facility, and one of the things that we'll be looking for is that when we have your application, that the property is ADA accessible. So just make sure you follow the guidelines.
Sure, sure.
Include it in your application.
So I just wanted to finish what I was saying. So there's sections in the ordinance that tell you what to submit to the board. And I'd encourage you to submit everything that's necessary for you to have enough evidence to prove that you meet all the site plan standards, which are also in the ordinance, okay? And if you determine that certain items don't need to be submitted, you don't need to submit certain evidence in order to meet the standard, then what you should do is you should give an explanation to the board why that's the case. So for instance, a simple one, which you've sort of already pointed out, is you're not gonna have a landscaping plan. And so we wouldn't, you're asking, in a sense, you don't need to turn that in because it's existing and it already has something. So it's just important that you go through what all the submission items are in the ordinance, and then make sure you've submitted those items so that it supports the standards, okay, the performance standards, which you clearly have a good start on. Because the board will approve, the board, in order to approve your application, needs to have evidence that each of the standards is met. And, you know, you're clearly not making a new building. It sounds like you're not making external structures other than changes to windows, so it is a little bit more straightforward, but you just need to make sure that you've looked over all those submission items and either submitted them or told the board why you don't feel they're necessary. Did I
Yes, ma'am.
get that more or less straight, folks? Okay, Dan and then Dee.
Well, I think he may have already answered my question, but how do you get to the second floor if you're in the restaurant at the first floor? So if I walk into your restaurant off of Main Street, and I go to, let's say, like a hostess area where they're gonna seat you, how do I then get from here up to the second floor?
Thank you for that question. The restaurant serve for dinner, we got the next door. Open the door, we have stairs to walk upstairs.
But so you would have to go into the restaurant and then back outside and up, a second door.
On the dinner, the people don't need to get into the unit I'm talking about. Have a separate door to walk upstairs.
270 is
So I
next
know
door,
what he's
that is
saying.
in the middle.
Right between
Yeah.
the nail place
Between
and
that
where he's building his restaurant, there is a door right there, and when
Right
you
in the
open that
middle.
door, there is
Right.
stairs.
Yeah,
Yes.
this may be some more sidewalk is
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
actually
that-
very
that's
Because
helpful.
I have some questions on
That
how.
assistant building,
Yeah.
that we didn't change anything, ma'am.
Okay,
They were there before.
Right, cause like when you look at the building, you have the door for 270,
Right,
which is where you're building the restaurant.
270 is in the middle.
Right here,
And
yeah.
2 is 72,
That
that
door
is
right
the
there.
salon.
Yeah.
That
And
door
2,
right
that
there.
will be 68, that will be the
See?
unit, that is for the restaurant.
this door right here is where they're talking about, and that goes right, that opens up right to stairs.
In summary, on the dinner time, we
This is
get
the nail place, that's the
the
door.
door,
that is in
separate door
question.
to
I'll come
walk
show you.
into
Yeah,
the
there's
the
separate,
dinner
there's a
outside?
separate entrance.
okay,
It's
so
a
we don't
separate
need to get
entrance.
into
Is
the
it
full
outside or
review,
inside?
but
You need to make sure
It'll be
you
inside.
demonstrate good egress to the upstairs.
yeah, you need to show how you get in the upstairs. I think if your floor plans show the stairway, that's ideal. Normally, that's what an applicant would turn in. They would turn in a floor plan for the first floor and a floor plan for the second floor, but it would show where the stairways are and where how somebody that's got disabilities, physical disabilities would get to the different areas, that sort of thing,
And then, it's right here.
yes, okay, so.
Right, but that's
That's not,
not showing where it connects. That looks like it's in the next building
So
over.
beside that, we going to add the, we call lift up elevator at the hallway.
So you're gonna install a stair lift?
Yes, yes.
stair lift.
So,
That-
you know,
that they
it's
call,
like a seat that's
Hydraulic
motorized up for-
elevator
Okay.
lifting
Like they have at Bear Mountain Music Hall in the
For,
Old Grange.
for customers or for food delivery?
I mean,
for
that's a
both.
lot.
For both.
Yeah, so that
So
would
food
probably
will
be
go up
for
with the
customers that
customers.
can't walk the stairs?
Yes,
Yeah,
that,
that is just for the handicapped people.
That's the
that
ADA.
curve or disability
Yeah, it's
customer.
not for joyrides,
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
no.
So Miss Miller,
I used to do some things on the second floor of that building. And what it is just a separate, it's like any separate doorway to a second floor.
Right.
And you say you're going to have a lift.
Yeah, the
so-
lift, yeah.
But there's nothing to stop you from serving your handicapped guests on the first floor.
Yeah, if they decide to go upstairs,
If
that-
they can't get
If they can't go up
upstairs,
there, they just
they
stay
can-
in the first floor.
because we have a
because
7 table.
your kitchen is on the
Yes.
first floor. So-
Exactly.
That-
So
Yes.
you can always, so I don't think that's an impediment. What I wanted to ask is about these other units. Now, these other units you
Yeah,
own,
but
but these are
dumbwaiter in
not
the kitchen.
involved with the
That's what-
restaurant,
that's
is
the
that
No,
correct?
no,
All right, but now you have parking behind them.
yes,
Is this parking going to be dedicated to the restaurant?
yes.
All right, so this parking then would not be available all the time if you wanted to do something in the other two units? Because you'd have to, if you're going to tell us you have so many parking spaces, you have to designate those spaces. You have to mark them and show that they're going to be spaces for the restaurant and that they wouldn't be used at other times for the other buildings unless you have other
I
plans that you might
totally
want to do.
agree
Okay,
with you.
fine.
But that's why we have to break down 2 sections on the to-go section in the morning, in the 9 to 4:30. That doesn't require so many people stop by.
Right.
People can walk on the street and stop by to get the lunch box and get the drink and walk out.
So what you're saying is the diners are going to
Diner.
take more time
More
in a
time.
parking lot
That's correct.
than the carry-out.
Yeah.
And so you are going to supply enough long-term parking, dining parking.
Yes, I realize
All
one
right.
thing is the unit cross the Harrison Road, have the bank there called Northway
Yeah.
Saving Bank.
Mm-hmm.
We talk with them and they say they're happy after hours. You can
Yeah,
park it.
so what you're gonna wanna do is, as I mentioned, there's standards that you have to show evidence for, and one of them is parking. So, for instance, you could, based on the number of clients you expect to have, you would then tell us how much parking you believe you need for that. So you know why you need the parking that you do, and if you do have some sort of arrangement with, for instance, Norway Savings Bank, you're gonna wanna say that, and you're gonna wanna state that in the application.
Yeah,
I think Angie has a question.
Yeah, I noticed the stairs are their own separate entrance. How do you plan to get the food from the first floor to the second floor? Are you gonna walk it outside and
no,
up the
no,
stairs?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
So that's why we get the
so you're gonna install a
we
dumbwaiter?
we install the call
Yeah,
the lift up
it's lift right.
elevator.
So you're not gonna knock a, you
No, it
can't really
shows on the
knock a
plan,
wall.
there's a
that's too
dumbwaiter.
No,
on
it
the
does show a dumbwaiter on the
The
plan.
Dumb is very convenient, that is go
Yeah.
up, down,
Okay.
up.
That's what this
Yeah.
piece
Okay.
here is.
So, yeah. So,
So if you see the second floor and you see the lift up elevator from the basement to the first floor to third floor to carry food.
yeah.
But that, will people be using that elevator?
No.
No, it's not.
No, actually, they have a choice. And if the disability lock sit down on the first floor, they welcome to do that. If someone really want to go up, and that elevator can carry up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because this
Ca-
one is
So
beautiful
it's
elevator.
pretty
Yeah.
sizable.
Yeah,
Cat-
very sizable.
I'm gonna go to Kathy. Does Kathy have any
Yeah,
advice?
Just, when you do your outside plan and we talk about parking, we would really like to know how best to approach that parking. Would it be off Harrison Road? It doesn't look like you could get there from Main Street easily. So those are the kinds of things that you need to think
Traffic
through and
flow.
explain to us.
Yeah, if you look at the diagram that Andy just hand out,
Yeah,
and you see the
There's a driveway.
yeah.
right, right.
So
That would be
The
the
pizza, somewhere on this side,
Yep.
they have a row, have a driveway in the back, about 11 feet, more than enough than emergency or food deliver, whatever, and drive all the way to Harrison Road.
Surround the building.
So, and beside that that driveway, we have about 2,800.
Right, so what you'll wanna do is you wanna explain all this in the application, and as Kathy said, a map showing the traffic flow might be helpful, or an
Yes.
explanation. So I have a suggestion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I know it's, I know that it costs some money and it takes some time, but, and I respect that you're an engineer, but I would suggest that you would seriously consider, even though this project appears pretty straightforward, to hire a civil engineer or somebody used to making up site plans and looking at perimeter surveys to help you with the application. And normally these people can also help with providing the evidence and the words and narrative for why you meet the standards. And this is in no way to suggest that you won't meet the standards, but you have to be able to show us. So I would suggest that. I know it costs a little bit of money. I know people are hard to get right now. I think one thing we could do, Brenda and board, if I'm not going too crazy, is provide an example of a site plan and a perimeter survey, or no? I mean, if you were to hire an engineer, and I grant, I'm sure you want to open as soon as possible, and Vietnamese food sounds
That's delightful.
lovely, because I know I like it. But if you were to have an engineer help you with minimally the site plan,
You talk about the diagram.
yeah, and the perimeter survey, and make sure all your diagrams all kind of connect together, I think in the end it would save you a lot of trouble.
So he did say, I don't know if you heard him or not, but they did try to get an engineer. A lot of the engineers don't want to take on the project because it's not big enough, it's too small of a project. So they've had some difficulty and timing, but I just wanted to throw that out there, because he did say that at the beginning. So they're having a hard time getting somebody willing to
It's
take
just
on
a
this.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
We wait and wait forever.
Can we give them an example of a site plan that includes everything they need to include? I mean, obviously, there's a possibility to go to the existing perimeter survey, but then you have to be sure it's updated with new structures and whatnot, because I think the one I looked at
Well,
is
the
from a
one good
long
thing
time
about
ago.
this lot is there isn't anything new. I mean, everything right there's been there forever.
The
Longer
only thing
than
that's
we've
in
been
there
alive. Huh?
It's the pool hall.
What?
The only thing that's new in that area that's done is the pool hall.
The pool, oh, yeah, the break
Yeah, the
room,
break
yeah.
room.
But that probably wouldn't be
But
on that plan,
then it
right?
seems like you could go back to the Registry of Deeds and get the
Right.
site plan, and that the applicant could then mark that, could walk the site and mark that plan without an engineer if there is anything additional, or if you need to have, if something's moved. I mean, that seems like that,
So let me ask you this, if we order survey, that would be help?
say again, please?
If we order a survey of that unit?
Yes, that would be
It would
extremely
eliminate
helpful.
surprises for you.
Wouldn't the
That's the most
generator be
important
a
thing.
special change?
You know, you don't want to be halfway
It's
into the
not clear to me
project
if it's in there.
and have missed something when you were trying to get it done.
Yes, sir.
If it's existing,
And then you have a
that's fine.
surprise, then you could push back a couple
That's-
months maybe, or
that's a
something like
change.
that.
It's an internal
Yes,
change,
yes, sir.
yes.
Because, you know, you're taking a whole building and converting it into a restaurant. That's a pretty big to-do.
Yep.
And-
I suggested the survey too, only because we did have this discussion in depth, because we don't know really where the setback lines are for the elevator, but that's going in the middle, from what I understand, so I think he's good there. But
But
we
that's
also
a
have,
structural change to the building,
and then we
correct?
have the parking lot.
Yeah.
So
The
in the
the
back.
parking plan can include, just so you know, it doesn't have to be all the spaces on your lot. You just have to demonstrate that where you are in town, there's parking close enough by to support what you need for your facility.
No, actually, the parking the evening time, I saw one is on the Northway Savings Bank. The another one actually on CD because we can, the people can walk to our
Walk to the,
restaurant.
yeah,
Yes.
so what I,
Fire department also have
but,
after hour.
yeah, what the board is suggesting is, we think it would be very helpful, both for us to make sure we properly evaluate your application, and to make sure that it helps you so that nothing is missed if you have the land surveyed. And, maybe that would be a little bit easier to do than hiring having a, full engineering project. I understand what Brenda's saying, but if you have a perimeter survey done with everything that's on the lot, with the setbacks, then it makes it very clear to the board exactly what's where in the current status and what you'll be modifying. And I think, we won't know till we get to the review, but I think I would probably recommend a site walk so that we can have a better way of visualizing what you're doing for questions that we have. It might be more efficient for you. So those are two suggestions, or one suggestion is to have a surveyor. And then on the standards, just make sure you explain, like you're telling us about the parking.
Yeah, I'll find.
You don't need to explain it all now, but when you submit the full application, just explain it in the written part of the application for that standard,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Yes,
Do you-
Yeah, that one the reason when we go ahead to submit the pre-app, and even I know the more board member have a lot of good suggestions. That what we're looking in for.
Yeah, I think it's very wise of you to submit a pre-application. I
Yes,
think
sir.
you got one more question down here.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of confused of which building this is. On the second floor, is this the place that has the old Masonic Hall?
No, actually not.
Bar.
So just amazing, like
It's the Kahuna
270.
building.
Yeah,
It's,
right across from Queen's Head, where the nail place is.
yeah, but the Masonic Hall is right
Well,
across.
the meeting room with the
That's
On the right
why,
side.
that's,
It's over
Ken,
the
that's why you need a
nail shop.
perimeter survey.
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry, my perimeter is.
And I believe it's where the big Kahuna used to be.
In which case, there are a lot of historic paintings in that
Yes.
second floor.
Yes.
Would you please consult with the Historic Society of what to do with them?
Actually, that's one is I planned with my uncle. We ordered a special glass. The plastic is not a glass to
Plexiglass.
cover. That's one.
Oh,
And
The
protect,
picture.
that's one is on the side of the owner. That is on the right hand side.
So you're gonna preserve those paintings?
Yes.
That the next
Yeah,
step.
and this is on the right hand side. That is be upstairs. We use this for dinner because the owner is just only the price is expensive. We use this for the party on the birthday party or small wedding party.
Okay.
It's just like
So
this.
that
Okay.
is the
So an event
phase
space,
two.
yeah.
Phase two, we
Yeah.
go open that
That's really
that
nice to
unit
hear.
with the people can walk in to observe the
So there's a
the
lot going on.
historical painting, and they have
Yeah.
some drink, some whatever.
Yeah, so one thing you'll want to do is,
Just
Go
to
ahead, Ken.
finish, the Historic Society has always wanted to take pictures of the pictures so that they can preserve them. And so if you did consult with the Historic Society, they may have some things that they would like to do in order to document the historic background of that
I
second
really
floor.
appreciate for your suggestion, yeah, I'll take that.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna let you go, and just one thing you'll wanna be sure is, look at the standards. If you'd like, we can take an excerpt of those and send them to you. But look at the standards and have an explanation or evidence for each standard. So For instance, one of the standards has to do with what uses are allowed. And clearly, you're going to have a change of use to a restaurant. If you're also gonna have events, you need to list that, so we know how the space is being used. And all of this will allow us to determine, you know, what the impacts are, if any, on the town. That's sort of our job, to figure that out, and that's based on the standards.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yeah, appreciate for.
So we'll send you, I'll write up a summary of our suggestions. Keep in mind, they're non-binding, it's not a full application. Once you come with the full application, then that will be binding.
I really appreciate it. I mean, I know everybody hungry, but can you give me about 2 minutes? We would like to share about our story, the reason we came here. You know, after the war, Vietnam War, and I live in the south. The map of the Vietnam, like the S letter. We live in the south at the end. After the communists took over in the south, and the U.S. pulled out of Vietnam, and we lost all freedom. We have two blue color and white color. White color, they took all the property, they sent to education camp, actually the Yale. So we lose our freedom as the escape from Vietnam. I'm one of them, and Andy also another one. So we just, young guy and with the 10-meter boat with like 4 horsepower, like more than the mount in your home, and just get out. Right now, the survey say about over 1 million Vietnamese spread in the whole world, but that's only 50% left. So only 50%. I'm not sure I'm survive after hurricane 4 days, 3 nights, and I landed in port of Thailand, and they call me a refugee, and my life started with the young guy, no money, no English because I study French in Vietnam, and no relative. My life started with that, and I worked very hard, believe me. Then I become engineer. I go to UT, and now I 36 years in engineer. And my nephew 4 times escaped from Vietnam.
Yeah, I tried to escape so many times.
And finally he landed to Malaysia, but he had to stay 7 years in Malaysia camp.
Yeah, well, we certainly welcome you to Bridgton.
Yeah, and you,
No, one thing, I got the 2 kids become graduate, and they got the family. I always, without American gently, I really appreciate the Americans. Help us to give us the chance to open door for us, give us the hope and opportunity to become like today.
well, you did it on your own, and you should be, and you are very proud of what you've done, and thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I looking for help everybody here, and give us some suggestion. I open mind, and I don't mind working hard to be contribute to make a CD building or bring the profit to the city, and that.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And,
I'm Romet. The best I try the best I can to make that is for city get better and better.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
very
well,
much.
Very
thank
good.
you, and
Again, thank you for your time.
thank you,
Yeah,
and thank you for sharing
Thank you,
your
Ms.
story.
Day.
Thank you.
You wonderful help.
We have to let you go now because we have one more applicant waiting to speak with us.
Sorry.
But I appreciate your efforts and your intent of what you want to do very much, and good for you. You've come a long way, very successful.
Good luck and
Thank
good
you,
fortune.
Yes, yeah, we look
Thank you.
forward
Yes.
to the restaurant. Thank you.
Okay,
Right now.
Yeah, we're hungry.
Very hungry.
pass those here. All right, next on the agenda, we have Premax Properties, Portland Road, map 5, lot 85-3. This is a pre-application. So again, I'd ask the board, normally these last about a half hour, so we did use up a little bit more time on the prior one, but that's okay. I'd ask the board not to initiate review, but after we get an overview from the applicant, to provide the applicant with advice that will help them put forward an application that this board can review and render a decision on. So I would also like to mention, before we get rolling, that this is a pre-app. Normally, the agent representing the owner, we normally do have the deeds in the pre-app. It's not strictly required. The property is not owned by Premax at this time. The property is owned by Mr. MacGyver. And,
There's an email in there now.
and he has sent an email stating that he's the owner. And I believe the intent here is that if the board approves this project or a project from Premax, then the sale would occur, so the sale is contingent on that. I just want to make sure people understand who the owner is, and,
We've had plans for this piece of property
Right.
before.
yes. So with that, if you would introduce yourself and give us an overview of the project, that would be great. Also, I want to make sure we answer any questions that you have tonight as best we can, in our non-binding fashion.
All right. So, my name is Andrew Kerman. I'm here with Doug Reynolds. We're with Goral Palmer, representing the applicant Primax Properties. So, what we are proposing is a retail development located at the corner of Portland Road and Bragg Way. Just as a little bit of reference, it's about 1,000 feet to the south of the drive-in movie theater and just east of the ball fields over there. So the site is about 8.6 acres of wooded area. There is a ATV trail on site and some wetlands. We're located in the outer corridor district, which permits retail development. And a small portion of the site is located within the limited residential and limited commercial districts. And based on discussions with the code enforcement officer, she doesn't foresee any issues with the limited clearing we're proposing in that area. So we're proposing 2 retail stores. Right now, we're anticipating a 10,000 square foot Dollar General closest to Bragg Way, and a 22,000 square foot Tractor Supply to the south of the Dollar General. And that would have also a 20,000 square foot fenced-in outdoor display area. So the intent is to split the lot into 2 parcels and provide separate parking, loading, utilities, and stormwater management facilities for each of the tenants. And as shown on the site plans you guys were given, was it meets the bulk space requirements of the ordinances. And the ordinance didn't really appear to have any parking requirements, so the parking shown on the site plans is based on the tenant's needs. So we have 34 spaces for Dollar General and 78 for Tractor Supply Company. And then we'll have a access drive that will be shared between the 2 tenants. And we will be rebuilding and paving the approximately 500 feet of Bragg Way and modifying the existing median island on Portland Road to allow for the larger delivery trucks to access the site. And so we will be required to get a TMP from the Maine DOT and that will ultimately dictate the amount of improvements we need on 302 there. As far as utilities go, we are, as I said before, keeping them completely separate for the tenants. So water, each building will have its own well. Tractor Supply, given the size of the building, would need to be sprinkled, so we're going to be proposing an underground storage tank and pump for the sprinkler system. Sanitary, as far as that goes, we're proposing 2 on-site wastewater disposal fields. These are going to be low-flow sanitary systems, so we will be submitting applications on the local level, which will be included in the final application. As far as power goes, CMP is planning on extending the 3-phase power for the reconstruction of the gas station next door, so we're going to be tapping into that. And then we're also proposing above-ground propane tanks to service the buildings. As far as stormwater goes, again, they will be independent for each tenant. So for Dollar General, we have 2 grass under drain soil filters adjacent to Bragg Way. And then for the Tractor Supply, we'll have 1 larger grass under drain soil filter. And since we're over 3 acres of impervious area, we're going to need to go to the main DEP for a site location of development permit. And in addition to that, we're in the direct watershed of Otter Pond, which is the lake most at risk, so we're going to have to meet the phosphorus standards as well as all the Chapter 500 standards. And so we're planning on submitting a full application for site plan review within the next couple of months. So we are looking forward to working with the town on such an exciting project. So I'd like to open it up for any questions you guys have at this time.
Thanks. Who wants to go first? Kathy?
Sure. I noticed on the original plan, it shows a amphibian breeding area, and that brought me, of course, to Inland Fish and Wildlife. And you may want to consider a survey of endangered species, because I'd look at the maps and get some correspondence going on there, because you may be in the vicinity of endangered species.
Yep, yeah, we reached out to the Fisheries and Wildlife, and we're waiting to hear back from them. But we did get a wetland and vernal pool survey done. And I believe based on that report, it was man-made vernal pool, and it's of no significant, it's not a significant.
That would be part of your submission.
You'll want to include all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Every
concur
bit
with
of
Ms.
course.
DiPietro. You want to have the documentation from Inland Fisheries and Water,
Yep.
and water bodies, or whatever it is.
Wildlife,
Water, yeah.
there.
What's
'Cause,
around the water,
Yes.
in the water.
Exactly, because, I mean, the whole areas of surface water drainage,
Yeah.
protection against undue water pollution, undue adverse effect on natural areas, and flood potential from Willis Brook. Though you're probably a little too high for that, but until we see a map, we don't know. Those would be the majority of my concerns.
Okay. Who else would like to?
Just-
Ken?
I just have a quick question. There are 2 parcels, and so they would be joined to 1 parcel, should the,
It's currently 1 parcel, and we're intending on splitting it into 2 parcels.
oh, so you are intending to split it? Interesting.
So, just a clarification, 1 parcel, if I remember correctly from the map, will be where the, I want to say Family Dollar, but I don't know if that's where.
Dollar General.
Dollar General is going to be. And the other is, so 1 lot's going to be ownership or control of Dollar General, the other lot's going to be ownership, control of Tractor Supply?
That's correct.
That's correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're going to have to be very careful about your permissions. Their driveways go across the lines, and
Yeah.
and actually, these 2 pieces of property are going to be really coordinating with each other, and so they're going to have to make sure legally that they can cross each other's boundaries and use everything.
Okay. Ms. Miller?
Years ago, I read an article in the New Yorker magazine that highlighted Dollar General's rather dismal safety record. And I didn't know you were going to come. This was many years ago. But when I did see the application, the pre-application on our agenda, I went back to see if there were any other changes and updates since that article was published. And I found articles from May 2023 that cite many, many safety violations, especially in the Dollar General store, which seems to be corporate because it's happening all over. And I have here an article that says that 49 people have been killed working in those stores since 2014. I brought some to be put into the OneDrive.
The record. So what I'd ask, Dee, is, I've also heard that similar information.
Yeah.
What standard is it that you would
Well,
ask the applicant to pay
yes.
particular attention to?
I would ask for a complete safety and protection, security systems to be included, emergency exits, any cameras and such that would be used to monitor, particularly in the Dollar General store, to make it safe. And may I ask, is it appropriate before application has actually been made to plan for sidewalks and public hearings, or is that going to be done?
We really should wait, but
Wait.
my expectation is that a project of this complexity and size, I would certainly call for a public hearing and,
I would
if
like to
possible,
do
a
that.
site walk.
I would
But
like to do that.
just as we did for other large applications in the area. And I would just say to your questions about, the standards and safety, I would just make sure in any section that talks about security, lighting, municipal services, anything related to some of the safety concerns that have been expressed, that you make an attempt to cover that. I know that's sort of broad, but that would be, as would be expected for just about any area, security and everything else, so.
And I have other things, may I?
Go ahead.
You mentioned big delivery trucks and having to restructure the turn, which needs to be done on 302. Those little things don't help me. But I would also like to know what the impact might be on children going back and forth to the ball fields. Because there are young people who ride their bicycles to the fields, and at times there are crowds going into the fields, for tournaments and such. And in reference to the comprehensive plan, which is a standard, I think that there's some statements in the comprehensive plan which might be relevant. I don't want to read them now, I don't think. But I do want, yes, I do. In dealing with the corridors, this is from the comprehensive plan, chapter 4 on the economy that I got on the website for the town. Without planning and forethought, these corridors leading in and out of town may just become anywhere USA. The town may lose its New England charm among the asphalt parking lots and cars in front of nondescript buildings. And then there are other discussions as well. Years ago, when some of the chains began to move into Bridgton, we had quite a big conversation about what we wanted the town to look like and the types of buildings that we wanted and the types of franchises or businesses that we wanted. And I'm not going to make a statement now, but I think I would like to have that conversation again, now that we have 20 years gone by since the last one, to see if the town wants to duplicate some of the things that we already have with other new franchises.
Where are you going with this, Ms. Miller? Because
I
what we
think-
have to do is make sure they meet the standards.
I understand, this is a standard of the comprehensive plan. Does it meet the comprehensive plan? I think that the nature of these buildings are businesses are in a sense redundant. We already have them. I don't know what they're adding. I know that with Angie on the board, it's a very important thing to look at what the town wants to see in its building. So I would like that to be part of the conversation, how this meets the comprehensive plan, which wants a sustained and
Okay,
viable
I got it.
Okay.
The actual standard says the proposal is consistent with the Town of Bridgton comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
It does not say you must meet specifically every little thing in the plan.
I understand that.
And so just so I can tell you.
But I just want the conversation. So
I-
if we're going to have a public hearing, that would satisfy me completely.
Okay, so we have to judge it on the standards.
I understand that.
And the comprehensive plan, I would just say this, a lot of those chapters are background. My advice is that the critical part of the comprehensive plan, that somebody that is doing something to the land should be sure they're consistent with, is the future land use plan for the outer quarter, the policies in that quarter. And then everything else should have been translated into our code. Now, I realize sometimes it doesn't work the way we always would want it to, but that's why we update the comprehensive plan, that's why we do future land use maps. I would just say to pay particular attention to the future land use. It will come up, I'm sure at the public hearing. One of the comments I'll make is, you'll see that standard, I don't know if it's B or C now, but in the site plan talks about how compatibility with the surrounding area, and specifically talks about the type of architecture. And as we have done with some other applications, I would really encourage it to have a New England feeling. And I realize you have marketing constraints, but we have town constraints. So I would definitely encourage that.
And it can be done.
Yeah, and I would encourage, so I want to understand the TMP, is that going to be a formal traffic study? Okay, so that should all be included in the application, whatever you're submitting.
It's all a matter of timing.
I got you.
And maybe also list what upgrades you're gonna do to Bragway, because that's a narrow road as it is. And they do have tournaments, and there's other businesses
Yeah,
down
and
there.
that goes to my,
Yeah,
that goes to
okay.
my next question, is
We're gonna widen it.
is Bragway a private road, Brenda, or a public road?
It's a private road.
Private.
So I think you're gonna need to include in the, it sounds like you're making significant improvements to the road. You're gonna need to provide in there, and it's one of the standards, but you're gonna have to provide information to the board that tells us that that road will be, maintained, or who's gonna maintain it, going forward, so that we know it has safe access and all those sorts of good things. Where the snow is gonna go.
Maintains it now?
What's that?
Does everybody know who maintains it now?
Rex Rolfe.
Yeah, so,
We're working with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's good people.
so you wanna make sure that's all very clear. The other thing I think we need to see is a very robust landscaping plan for the buffers. I'll say that although it's the right of the applicant or the owner, I was disappointed to see every single tree in that 75-foot buffer cut with no consideration to leaving small stands of birches, which were cut, or to the larger trees.
Talking about what was just cut.
So it's just all cut.
Yeah.
Some of that is
Is that the
wetland.
stuff on Bragway?
It's
Bragway.
along
Oh, they cut it
Bragway and it's the whole, it looks to me like it's the whole 75-foot buffer
It
along,
was a clear cut.
yeah. And, you know, that's, like I said, that's the right of the owner. I would hope we see a very robust landscaping plan, as it says in the ordinance, in addition to item B of the standard in the, and I'll get to it. I would point you to the landscaping criteria in the outer corridor.
Yep.
And the introductory paragraph actually asks for it to be kept in its natural state as much as possible. But then it says, when you do the buffer, it's preferred to leave the existing trees. Now, I understand that that's not always possible. It may not be preferable, but I hope we have a robust landscaping plan.
Yeah.
That's just, that's gonna be needed for that buffer.
Yep, that won't be a problem.
I think we covered road improvement. Ralph, how about you?
I've done more of a curiosity question. Tractor Supply's doing a new building in North Conway.
Yes.
Are you involved in that? Are the Tractor Supply stores all cookie cutter like the
Yep. For, size of
size?
building,
So the one
size.
that's in, for example, in Wyndham would be similar in size and scope to what we would see here?
Again, back in the, you want me to stand up?
Yeah, just go to the
Yeah, please
mic.
come to the mic, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Let us know who you are too,
Doug-
please.
Doug Reynolds, Goral Palmer. Basically, back in the early 2000s, I think they were 19,000 square foot buildings and 20,000 square foot. They've just bumped it up to a 22. Again, I know I did Calais, I did Belfast, I did Augusta, I didn't do Wyndham. And I've done a few, they're all right around that same size. And again, to go back to your architecture question, go to the one in Belfast.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because Belfast made you conform
Oh, yeah,
to what
yeah,
they
yeah.
wanted
No,
for the
that's-
town.
They
yeah.
they understand it,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I've done Thomaston too.
Yeah.
But-
Okay, so you know that.
But I've been around. So again, we understand that, and those are the type of things that, we come to sketch plan for. We hear it, we go back to them and say, hey, they're really gonna be looking for that. So that's what we do.
Okay. Dan?
One thing, just because I know this area, and this has been promised in many applications, and we can't hold you to it, but just do realize it is a tight-knit community. You have the ATV trail and the snowmobile trail that runs through there. We've been told by other applicants, yeah, we're gonna keep it open, and then all of a sudden, bang, they build their thing, and no more access for us.
Yeah.
That's a huge industry for us up here.
Yep.
And to lose access to gas stations, i.e. Naria, that is being built.
Yeah, we've been talking again to the code enforcement officer about that and getting access from Bragway over to Noria. There's a space, and again, I know that the clubs, they'll come and cut a path or whatever, on even on our property if we let them do it. If we
Yeah.
give them easement, you guys will put little
Yeah, and I understand,
put
like,
little bridges on, and you wiggle it around.
You may have to move it, but, work
exactly.
with the local clubs, 'cause like that,
Please.
Yep.
they'll come out and,
Yep,
they'll
and
carve in
again,
a trail.
right now, it comes right by that short, I think the trail, it's really tough to see on this.
Trail's right at the end.
Right before the storage.
The trail kind of comes right through
Yeah.
this pond right now.
Yep.
And again, there's a possibility, we just run it down here. and get over to.
Right, but what I'm more talking about is they actually come down Bragg
Yeah,
Way.
it crosses Bragg Way, because we had
So
to cut
they
it
come
off.
from like where Rex's
Yep.
business
Come
is.
back and they
So-
just.
Yeah.
They go right down the road.
That should actually be shown on the perimeter
We-
survey.
We've got, I mean, right now, we're only paving from here forward.
Okay,
So again,
So
everything back
basically
there
the
is gonna
storage
stay
units,
exactly how it is.
okay.
okay.
So few more things. I noticed that you're in, it says in the pre-app, limited residential and limited commercial. Limited residential, doesn't allow commercial and doesn't allow parking areas as far as I know.
Yeah.
You've got a big,
All it is that little sliver, this line right here.
but on your map, you showed a loading area that crossed into there.
Yeah, right here.
And
Yeah.
I believe that's what I saw.
Yes.
And I would submit that you want to look at that closely, that may not be allowed, because that's commercial space emanating into limited residential.
Yeah.
So I think you need to look at that loading area, which crosses over that line,
Yeah,
assuming it is
area,
limited
yeah.
residential.
Challenges.
And commercial is not allowed in limited residential, period.
That's a yes/no question.
And it's, that's why I asked you to look at it closely and look at that use chart in the section 4 closely for limited residential. I mean, I'm just asking that they look at it closely and study it and not just comment about what it
So
says.
limited residential parking is allowed.
That's not parking according to that map. It's a
Says
loading and
loading.
unloading area
It
for
says
a
loading.
commercial establishment. So again, I don't want to start going into full review, but I think it needs to be looked at. The other
Giving you
thing.
fair notice.
The other thing is there is, as you know, the drive-in is across Bragg Way, or their property is, down the road a bit. I would hope you're gonna submit a lighting plan, as others have done for developments this large, that shows that there won't be any light leakage that would disturb the abutters or detract from that abutting business. I think that's, as Dan commented, it's a tight-knit group, and that drive-in's been there for,
Dark sky compliant lighting.
for probably 60 years.
Yeah. See, that's a
So,
simple fix.
or if not more. The last time somebody came with a pre-app for that,
I got a question.
go ahead, yes.
The purple lights at Hannaford, is that just for Halloween?
I have no idea, but
I saw those the other
Have you
night.
seen that?
I did
hope so.
see
Did
them,
see
but,
those.
yeah.
well, that leads me to my next thing is make sure you follow the sign ordinance. We will want you to actually submit the sign,
Yes.
what kind of sign it is, what kind of lighting it's gonna have. And if it is internally lit, EMC sign, then there are restrictions in the ordinance to pay attention to. The other thing is, last time a pre-app came to us for that area, somebody that represented Noria came and said there was a well in the corner that was gonna be, based on their approved application, in the corner of their lot abutting, I think both of the lots that you're describing here that would be created.
Yep.
It just, looking at it, doesn't look like there's a concern, but just something to pay attention to. Also, whether or not you're in any aquifer areas, any overlay areas. If you're not, great. If you are, there's uses requirements for that. And it sounds like you're doing a phosphate export. That wasn't clear to me in the application. Great. I think it would be helpful to know about the wetlands you're impacting, why you're impacting them, and why you can't work around them. I think that would just be very helpful. There is some guidelines regarding setbacks from wetlands, and they have to be certain types of wetlands. So you might want to look at that standard in I think it's actually in the dimensional standards part of the ordinance, where it lists the setbacks from wetlands. And in some cases they apply, in some cases they don't. So you just want to go through that. And that's my laundry list of advice. What questions do you have for us? Is there something we didn't cover that you wanted to cover?
Nope. I think you answered pretty much everything. So.
Okay, well, I appreciate your patience. I know you had a long wait, and it's much appreciated. And
You started early, so that's good.
yeah, we got ahead of schedule. And I think we'll look forward to your full application and a nice, robust discussion and review. So you guys don't sound like you're newbies at this, so. All righty, that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I think we are at the other section of the agenda.
No way.
I have lost it.
Adjourn?
No, not quite yet.
That's the only section I was worried about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we can be out of here by like 7:30, it's great.
Yeah, no, we're gonna be out very shortly. A reminder that we have a public hearing on November 21st. Tori has made the changes that the board requested at their workshop. She's asked me to review them. I haven't done that. I got them today. I'll do that tonight. Remember, we're gonna probably have more than one hearing, so if we need to change something, we can. I think that was the main thing I wanted to bring up unless, and concerning tonight's subdivision review, I will, if I have time, work with Laura Lee to have sort of a partially drafted findings. Assuming we make the decision in December, then those could maybe be turned around more quickly than waiting until January 4th. So that, I just wanted to mention that. Does anybody else have anything, including our staff who had to leave?
He's gone. Everybody's gone.
Anybody, anything? Sounds like I see people pulling things together, so, go ahead.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Moved
Second.
by Dan, seconded by Angie.
All in favor?
All in favor? 5-0, we're adjourned.